What the hell is going on? Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of Dan Studios, where we bring you the latest news in a short and informative format, and of course in the comfort of a studio. Now, in order to comply with the government's wishes, we here at Dan Studios have decided to self-isolate, which is why, as you can see, we are still recording in my living room and not in the studio. Now, people are going to be asking, hey Dan, where has your mic gone? Well, we've boosted our equipment a little bit, got a new mic, so you no longer have to see me holding a microphone looking like a washed up stand-up comedian. Now, today we're going to be doing a little bit more of a serious video, as the situation here in Victoria is getting worse and worse, so I don't really want to, make this too much of a joke into it. Now, I didn't want to be the one to be reporting this, but a ton of bad news has happened over the last few days, and it seems that the state of Victoria is not looking good. It's not looking very good. Just over a few days ago, Premier Dan Andrews did announce that 5 Victorians have died of the coronavirus, which is the most amount recorded of deaths in a single day, bringing the death toll of Victoria to 49. Now, the state has recorded 403 new cases of coronavirus, which has brought the state total to 7,125. Now, not only that, but 19 new cases of coronavirus has been confirmed in the state of New South Wales, and all of these new positive cases are getting linked to the Victorian strain, which possibly started from the people of Victoria visiting New South Wales and not self-isolating and quarantining correctly when, they have the disease.
We've just heard an update from Victoria. It is another bad day there.
It is. Another 403 new cases of COVID-19 in Victoria. They're a little over 2 weeks into their citywide lockdown in Melbourne. Tragically, 5 people have died, and disturbingly, a man in his 50s was one of the people who passed away in the last 24 hours in Melbourne. There was 3 in nursing homes. We now know the coronavirus is in 60 nursing homes around metropolitan Melbourne. Many of those, there's 200 residents and staff who are now infected. And as this progresses, I think there's 200 people now in hospital with the virus in Melbourne. 40 odd are in ICU on ventilators. So this is a grim tale. And as Chris Ullman, our political editor, just said, we're talking about a 6-week lockdown. That's the number that the Victorian Premier has put on it. But we're 2 weeks into that and the numbers just aren't getting any better. So the Victorian Premier, Daniel Andrews, did talk about this just a moment ago, and as you can see, the numbers just aren't getting any better.
Now, even children are now battling the coronavirus in Victorian hospitals. This disease now affects children. It's affecting everyone. It's not just affecting the elderly, but it's affecting the entire spectrum of the human community. Now, I'm sure through the countless videos that I've made and probably all the other videos that you guys are watching out there, I bet you all understand how deadly the coronavirus is, how serious it is, and the damage that the virus is causing to our world. Now, I read something in the morning when I was browsing through my socials that compared what we are going through now to those who were born in the 1900s. They had it so much worse than we did, with both world wars going on in one lifetime, enduring going through the Black Plague, the global economic crisis. They had Hitler, for Christ's sakes. What we are going through with the coronavirus is not as bad as those events. So I don't really understand why modern day people complain so much about the harsh rules that are put in place, because all of these new cases are coming up because the people are not adhering to these restriction rules. You go out to your little gatherings and then boom, 400 new cases of positive coronavirus, and then boom, harsher restrictions. So honestly, what even is the point? Everyone out there is complaining about freedom and how they need to have their sense of freedom where they can go out and do what we want. But how can you do these things if you're dead in the ground and we actually can't do anything? How is that any more similar to having any sort of freedom? I don't understand. Now, I think at this stage, everyone should just accept the fact that this is real. This is what our current reality is, and we can't get around it. Now, the earlier we accept this, the earlier the whole pandemic will end. And obviously, we want the pandemic to end because I definitely want to go outside. So as a constant reminder, I want to continue to remind everyone that the coronavirus is a serious issue. We should be complying with what the government is asking us, as social distancing continues to prove to be the #1 weapon against the virus. Now, we need to be understanding that life in the next couple of months are going to be tough. We've toughened it out before. we can still toughen it out. There's no point rebelling against the rules, as the more you rebel, the more we're going to be locked down and tied down, and that's just not what anyone wants. Now remember to avoid crowded areas if you can, maintain a good level of hygiene, and always remember to wash your hands. Hand sanitize your hands. Always wear a face mask, because if you don't, you're going to get fined in the state of Victoria. But even if you don't have that fine floating around, you should still be wearing a face mask to stop any sort of possible spread, whether you have the disease or not. Now please remember to subscribe, punch that like button, and share our content. As we know, it is a tough time for everyone. I know this episode was a little bit more serious. It wasn't as lighthearted as witty like the other ones. But it was a very direct message I wanted to send out today. So that's probably why we stuck to a more stricter format. But don't worry, next video we're gonna go back to the same old charismatic, happy-go-lucky video that we normally do. So I'm your host Dan. I'll see you guys in the next one, and be safe, ladies and gentlemen. Remember to wear your face masks. Alright, see you guys.